Right, good morning, everybody. We're just waiting on a few more attendees, I think, but we're just going to get going because obviously we're aware that some of you have things on after this. So we're aiming to be finished for 10:30 this morning. So I'm Sarah, I'm Marketing Manager at IQX, and we've put together, this is the second in our series of webinar on mail merging. So before we start, I'm just going to apologise for Shelley's voice. She's not feeling very well this morning, but she is going to truck on through. So we encourage you to ask questions throughout. There's a little chat box, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner. Some people have started using it already. So if you're not sure of what's going on or you need to ask to get something clarified further, just type it in and Shelley will do her best to cover that for you. So I'll hand over to Shelley without further ado.
Thank you so much for joining us on our second in the webinar series. So this week we're going to look at mail merging, how to send them from IQX and how to get the most out of it. The mail merge facility can be used anytime you want to send multiples of the same letter or email, so it doesn't just have to be these to your clients. You can use it for a variety of different reasons, and we'll have a look at a couple of those during the session. I'll just start with the same sort of prefix as before. IQX is customized to your agency, so the database I'm using might not look exactly the same as yours. Things like, I call them people, you might call them staff, placements might be bookings, but everything's in the same place, so you'll find all the tabs in the same location. They just might be called something slightly different. There'll be one main difference as we're going through looking at the mail merging, and that's whether you open Word inside or outside of IQX. I'm going to be demonstrating it on the opening up on the outside because that's my preference, but we'll have a look at some of the screenshots of opening inside so that you can see what that looks like as well, because that might be how you have it set up. As Sarah said, we've got the chat box at the bottom, so if you do have any questions, pop your question in there and we'll do our best to answer them. If it's a bit more of a complicated question, I'll come back to you after the webinar with the answer on that. And just a reminder, if you weren't able to attend the previous webinar or you haven't had a chance to watch the video yet, it was on searching, so that's a great place to sort of start looking at before the mail merging, as it gives you an idea of how to get your candidates and your consultants back, the different search criteria we have, and how you can use them to get the information out of the database. So if you want, you can go along to our LinkedIn group. It's called IQX Community. We're putting all the videos in there. We're also going to have a list of upcoming webinars in there. So it's a great place just to keep on top of what webinars we've had and what's coming up in the future. And apologies for my voice. I will struggle through, but if you can't understand me, just tell me in the chat box. So mail merging can be used for so much more than sending newsletters, as I've already said. So we're going to start looking at the different places you can send your mail merges from. Basically, mail merging is available to those with rights. If you've got the rights, you will see on your person and contact selectors the mail merge button here. So we've got that there, or it's also on the contacts mail merge. We are just looking at mail merging from within IQX. Some of you will use MailChimp, and we can do a separate session on that, but there is a lot you can do from within IQX, so we're going to look at that today. If you don't have this mail merge tab, speak to your systems administrator. They can look at giving you the rights for that as well. So, places you can send your mail merge from, as we said, your person selector. You can run a search using your criteria, bring back your records and mail merge them. But also you might want to do things like on your temp desk, chasing up timesheets that haven't come in. So here I am, I've got a lot of blue provisional timesheets. I want to get these finished in time. I can simply control and click to highlight everyone that I want to take through. I can do shift control and take it through to the end. Then I'm going to use this process button here at the top, and it'll ask me where I want to take the process the people to, and I'm going to say the temp selector. That's taken me through to my person selector, where I can now mail merge all of these people and send them a reminder that their timesheet is overdue. They're not going to get paid unless they send it back in. Process basically means taking records from one screen and moving them through to another screen where you can do something with them. Other things you might want to do with the process button on your temp desk, you might want your temps that are working this week and advise them of a change in payment days or days that the time sheets need to be back in. For example, Easter's coming up, we've got bank holidays, does this affect your payroll? You can use your temps tab on your temp desk and change your drop down from your current pool to your working this week. This gives you a list of all your temps that are out working this week. And again, we can use our process button to take them through to the person selector and contact them all from there to let them know about the changes. Finally, on the temp desk, a really good one for mail merging is your expiry dates if you use them. So these are all your documentation that are coming up for expiry or have expired. And again, we can take our temps from here using the process button to the temp selector and send them all a mail merge warning them that something's about to come up for its date for expiry, and that if it reaches that, we won't be able to give them all work. You don't need to do it individually, you can take them straight through and do that. Other times you might want to use your mail merge facility are on your vacancies. For example, on your vacancy shortlist. So as you can see here, I've got a number of people on my shortlist. I've got 5 people here that are awaiting contact. I can contact them all at once and send them a job description simply by ticking the box beside their name and then using the process button here. It takes me through to the progress selector where I can then use my mail merge, pick up the job description from the vacancy and send that out as in one go rather than multiple emails, each taking time to send. Finally, another great place to use the mail merge facility is from your placements. Here you might want to do things like looking at your placements that are starting next week. So you can change your dates to next week, change your selector from placed to start. I'll see I've now got 4 placements starting next week. I can mail merge them all, wish them good luck, send them a blank timesheet, and it will pull through all their relevant information and send it as a winner. So those are just some different places you might want to send a mail merge from. We're going to look at sending a basic one, just take you through the steps of it. I'll just do it from the person selector and I'll run a quick search on I'll just do my candidates. Oh, that's not me. There we go. And I've got 57, but actually I only want to send this to my people that are current. So again, using my control click, I can highlight my pre-registration people that I want to send it to. It's good practice if you find that you don't get to go through a mail merge all in one go, that you're often doing your search and then coming back to sending it, to make a stored selection. So you can do your stored selection and save it off so that if something happens, you can come back to that selection and then just send your mail merge, but you don't have to. So I'm just going to go straight into my mail merge, and I don't have any saved ones, so I'm going to use my button at the top here that's new and just send a new one. The first window that comes up is the signatory. I can change this from myself to a colleague, but bear in mind this is just the name that appears on the bottom of the mail merge. If you're sending it from your machine, it's going to go from your email address. So it might end up being that you have Sarah's name on the bottom of the letter, but it's still coming from your email address, so any replies will come to you. So I'll just say OK to that. And then this screen comes up asking me which of my records do I want to send it to. I can choose all, only highlighted, or all except highlighted. And because I decided I didn't want to send it to the people that are pre-registration, I'm going to choose all except highlighted. We've then got the marketing question. Again, do I want to send to all? This is great if you're sending out legal updates, so things like IR35 or changes in tax rates, and you want that to go to everybody so that they know about it. Subscribed goes to the people that have actively not unsubscribed to your marketing. And the unsubscribe to marketing button on a person record, I will show you that where that is after we've done the mail merge so that you can update your records. Alternatively, you can send to your unsubscribed. So I'm going to go with all except highlighted and subscribed. The next thing is it asks me whether I want to use a template that I already have in my document templates. For example, I've already got a placement confirmation saved here. So if I was sending placement confirmations from my placement selector, I could use that template and it saves me typing it every time. We also have the ability to load from an existing Word document. It takes you to your documents on your computer and you can choose to upload them. So for example, I have a template I've saved here and it will load it in to Microsoft Word for me. When it's finished having a think about it. Oh, I think it's running as slowly as I am this morning. Dear, it doesn't like that template. Isn't it always the way? I had a practice of this yesterday and it was absolutely fine, but now it doesn't want to load it up. I am really sorry about this. I am just going, I think it might be because I've got that open. So let's try. So I'm just going to come out of IQX and we'll just go back in again. There's a very good reason why you shouldn't have more than one instance of IQX open at a time. I was hoping to be able to show you the differences between the two, but it's not. I'm very happy. Let me load back in. Sorry about that. Let me just run my search very quickly again. Highlight the people we don't want. And we're back to square one. So, sorry, I'll just quickly go through these steps. And we're back to here. Right, I'm going to try again and hopefully this time it will load my document for me. There we go. Sorry, I had two instances open, so it doesn't like to open it up. So as you can see here, this is basically the invitation you all received for your webinar. I've got a picture here at the top. I've also got a URL link down here. So you can do more than just plain text emails and letters to people using IQX. And that goes out, and some of you will have clicked on that link and gone through. I'm just going to show you how you can edit this if you like. You have the ability Word opening up outside of IQX. You can see I've got this floating box here and I have the Word document here. When it opens inside IQX, you get the file menu along the top of the screen and you can insert your fields and save them from there. We do have some pages on our online help, which is at www.iqxusers.co.uk, and that shows you the differences between inside and outside and what it looks like. But the steps are all pretty much the same. So I'm going to have a look at the fields that I have available here. And you can see there's various different ones. We have a letter. These are available anywhere you send a mail merge from in IQX. You can put in various different fields there. For example, if I wanted to personalize this one, I could put dear and put in my recipient salutation. I simply click on recipient salutation and insert field. And that will say dear Clark, and I can skip through on the merge tab to see how that changes for everybody in my list. If I take you over here. So we've got my selection here in the background, and I'm just going to scroll to the top. And as you can see, Clark was the first person on my list. So it skipped Zoe Armstrong. And it skipped Zoe because on her record, under the Get in Touch tab here down the left-hand side, I've unsubscribed her to marketing because the button's now showing as subscribe to marketing. So it automatically excluded Zoe because I said I only wanted those that have subscribed to marketing. Okay, so we'll just finish having a look at the fields that you have. So you have your lessons. Because we're sending it from the person selector, we also have all our applicant fields, various different fields in there. We also have company or client, vacancy, progress, placement, contact, event. These are only available if you're sending the mail merge from the relevant section in IQX. For example, if I used a placement field, and I just pop it in underneath here, say job title, it's not doing anything. It's not showing up because we're not linked to placement at this point. However, if I send this from the placement selector, it is linked to a placement, so that field would show. What you get to see depends on where you are in IQX. So it's very simple. All you need to do is decide on the fields, click on them, insert them where you want, and you can free type text into your template as well. Once you're happy with your template and you know what you want, you've got it all in there, you've all your information, you are now ready to send. And you do this from the Merge tab. If you're in a version of IQX where you're using Word Inside, you want to click on the Enable Email button. We have three options here: print only, email where available, and create contact events. So I'm going to say that I want to create contact events. They may be set up automatically for you, or it may be optional as it is for me. I always recommend that you do create a contact event when you do a mail merge, because it's great that you've got that in the system. Nobody can come back and say they weren't included if you can prove that you sent it to them. And also it's great to gauge that if you're sending these things out to people and they're regularly not getting back to you, you can decide whether it's worth including them in the future. If you don't see the create contact event, that is because it's set up in the background to be sent automatically. So I want to email these, so I'm going to choose email where available, and it brings up a new box for me. It allows me to type the subject of my email. And I've got my options here. So it says letter as. Because we're sending it from a Word document, it's the letter as, and I can choose to send it as plain text or HTML. Because I have hyperlinks and pictures in there, I want to choose HTML. The other option, because of the version of IQX I'm in, and some of the older versions don't have this, is that I can send it as an attachment. It will take that invite and make it the attachment to the email, and I can choose a template of text to go with it that would be in the body of the email. But actually, I don't want people to have to open an attachment to see what I'm sending, so I'm going to send it as HTML in the body of the email. I also have the ability to pick up files from my desktop, so if there was something else I wanted to send along with it as an attachment, I can do that using the File button. Document is great when you're on vacancy shortlists and placements, as it allows you to pick up documents from your vacancy record, company record, but for person, because it's going to lots of different people, they'll not all have the same document. It's not available here. If you accidentally add a document, you can use the Remove button to take it off. I think the most important part of this screen is the print selection here down at the bottom. So it's got print selection. It's telling me 8 out of 54 of the people I've selected don't have email addresses. Excuse me. So my options are to send or print all. It'll send those that have email addresses and send the rest to the printer. If I'm not interested in printing them, I can choose the middle option here, which is send those with email addresses and ignore others. This is probably the best option because for a lot of your mailers, you're not going to be posting them out. So you do just want to send them if they're in email and not send them if they don't have one. Alternatively, you do have the option of printing those without email addresses and not sending the email ones. But Would normally recommend the middle option as it's a little bit better for the environment, and we're all trying to be environmentally friendly now. Finally, on this screen, we've got the include IQX signature. This will pick up your standard IQX signature from the database and add it on. If your template already includes a signature, as you might have some basic templates set up with that, you just want to untick that, otherwise it's going to appear twice. I didn't have one on my invite, so I'm going to leave it on to send it. When I press OK here, this is sending the email. That's me just confirming I've finished setting up the email. So the email hasn't yet gone, and it doesn't go until I actually send it using the email available buttons at the bottom here. So I've got all to end or this one. It's great if you're doing a big mail merge and you just want to test it, that you use this one button. It will send one email. First of all, you can see what it looks like. And then if you're happy with it, you can use the to end button. It'll pick up from number 2 and send them all from number 2 onwards. Or if you just want to send them all in a oneer, you can use the all button here. I'm not going to send these because these are all dummy candidates and they wouldn't go anywhere. But if you can imagine that, I'm just going to, I'd press all. And actually, oh no, I've got my Outlook set off. I can send that just now. So I'll say all. And you can see it's going to tick its way through up the top here in the merge tab, telling me which number it is sent at. So while that's sending, I see we've had a question from Louise. Yes, we can absolutely upload an image. If you've got that image saved on your desktop or somewhere else on your computer, you can do that. All I did with this one here, so this little computer screen in the desk is an image from me. I just copied and pasted it into my document from my desktop, and that made part of my template. So you can absolutely include images. And this is slowly but surely working its way through it. So once this gets to the end, I will show you the final part of our webinar today, and that is how to save this off as a template. As we're having a series of webinars, this is something I'm going to want to send out regularly, once a month, but just change the details on it. So I'm going to save the basis of it as a template so that I can use it in the future, which will save me time. Again, if you are sending other templates, chasing people for timesheets or availability, if you create a template, then that's the easiest way to send them in the future. So here we are. I can now see that I've got to 54 of 54. They've all sent. So I can now come to my document tab here, and it's asking me, what do I want to give the name of this? So I'm going to call it Webinar Invite Shelley. I'll say OK. So I now can save and exit. And when I go to my Mail Merge tab, I can see that my webinar invite's here. In the future, if I wanted to use it, I would make my selection and just double click on that, and it starts the mail merge using that template for me in the future. Just cancel out of that. The other alternative is you can borrow templates from your colleagues. You can change the drop down here. So I'm going to have a look and see what Viola's got. She's got a letter sending out VAT. That's great. She's done that for me. I can use that in my mail merge from her template. It saves me recreating the whole thing again. So it's just little time saving things. If there's stuff that you use all the time, save it off and do it that way. If it's something you use for a while and it's no longer relevant, you can delete them just by highlighting them and using the delete button. The final thing I'm just going to show you, and again, it all relates to whether you have the rights for it, is the text messages button. So we've just shown you how to send letters or emails. If you wanted to bulk text people, you would use the mail merge button and text messages. Again, we've got the options of only highlighted and subscribed. So I'll say only highlighted. And it'll confirm, are you sure you want to send them? Because I'd only highlighted 2 people, it's telling me 2 text messages. This is a great warning if you think you've highlighted some people out of a list of 200 people and actually only wanted to text 20. read this message and it'll warn you if you're about to send too many. I can say yes. I can create a contact event. I either have the option of entering a template or just free typing text into here. I then just hit send and it sends those text messages, logs the contact event against the candidates. So I think before my voice goes entirely, we will come to an end here. Just one final thing, just to remind you, this is how to do a mail shot, mail merge from within IQX. If you press help anywhere in IQX, it takes you to our online help pages, and you can then go to contact management and find the relevant pages on mail merging. So that's got step-by-step instructions, and it also shows you the different views of for inside and outside of IQX. So if you're not sure which version you've got, that'll be in there. So do we have any final questions before we go? You're all probably glad to go and stop listening to Kermit the Frog. Okay, well, thank you so much for attending. Sarah will be putting this up onto the group on LinkedIn later on today. We've also been putting together our schedule for future events, so keep your eye open on what's coming up. If you think of a question afterwards, please feel free to email support@iqx.co.uk. Neither myself or Barbara or Alan will pick up on that for you. So once again, thank you, and we'll speak to you in about a month's time. Thanks, Sarah. Bye-bye.